रघुनाथान्वितां तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सह श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नामश्रेष्ठं मनमपि शचपुत्रमत्र स्वरूपं रूपं तस्याग्रमरुपुरीं माधुरीं गोष्ठवाटिं राधाकुण्डं गिरिवरमहो राधिका माधवाशां प्राप्तो यस्य प्रतितकृपया श्रीगुरुं तं नतोऽस्मि। नमस्ते गुरुदेवाय सर्वसिद्धिप्रदायिने सर्वमङ्गलरूपाय सर्वानन्दविधायिने यं प्रव्रजन्तमनुपेतमपेतकृत्यं द्वैपायनो विरहकातरुवाजुहाव पुत्रेति तन्मयतया तरवोऽभिनेदुस्तं सर्वभूतहृदयं मुनिमानतोऽस्मि। हे श्री गुरु ज्ञान दीनबंधो स्वानंददाता करुणैक सिंधु वृंदावनासीन हितावतार प्रसीद राधा प्रणय प्रचार। First of all, offer my millions of obeisances to the feet of Asmati Guru Pad Padma, Itla Pratigat Guru Shishimad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Gosai Maharaj, Rendi Swami Shishimad Bhaktivedanta Dandi Maharaj, Namnishta Santu Shri Aniruddhas Prabhuji, and all the Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis, please accept my humble obeisances. So we are beginning from page number 143 of the PDF. Hare Krishna. One second. Hare Krishna. हाँ दंडो हरे कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा। मैं थोड़ा प्रभु जी मैं थोड़ा ऑनलाइन क्लास में हूँ, मैं थोड़ा फोन करूँ क्या आपको क्लास करने के बाद में? हरे कृष्णा प्रभु दंडो सर हरे कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा। तो so here Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela 22.64 states Shraddhavan Janaya Bhakti Adhikari. One who has faith is an eligible candidate for bhakti. Faith is necessary not only in the practice of bhakti but in the practice of karma, productive activity, jnana, Buddhistic knowledge and yoga also. Means you have to have faith in karma also. There are a lot of people who have faith in karma, a lot of people who have faith in jnana. Like Adi Shankaracharya and all the followers of Shankaracharya, they have faith in jnana, Buddhistic knowledge. Followers of Baba Ramdev, they have faith in yoga. Yoga will give us this, yoga will give us that. So many people are following Ravana and they are actually interested in karma. But Kriya Saktan Tetik Vikatapasho Tichemina. Digastu Brahmaham Badra Parifulla Jadamati Kimeta Shuchamo Visharasa Mattan Narapashunna Kishachit Lesho Militu Aha Gaura Maduna. Also, very few people have faith in Bhakti. But one must have faith. श्रद्धा शब्द विश्वास कहे सुदृढ़ निश्चय कृष्ण भक्ति कहले सर्व कर्म कृत है। सौटी श्रद्धा आदो श्रद्धा तथा साधु संग अनर्थ निवृत्ति निष्ठा रुचिस्तथा अथासक्ति तथा भाव तथा प्रेमा विदंजलि साधकानाम अयं प्रेमणा प्रादुर्भावं भवेत्। Smallest starting point is Shraddha. So we must have Shraddha. What Shraddha? That if I do Bhakti to Krishna, Shraddha Shabde Vishwas Kahe Sudrudha Nishchay, Krishna Bhakti Kaile Sarva Karma. The determined faith that merely by the performance of Bhakti to Shri Krishna, all activities are performed is called Shraddha. Also another meaning of the word Shraddha is Shraddha tu Anyopaya Varjam Krishnonmukha Chitta Vritti Vishesha. The Chitta Vritti, the tendency of the heart, which is directed towards Krishna and which is free from any desire to follow other process is called Shraddha. So only want to direct our heart to Krishna and don't want to follow any other process, that is called Shraddha. And Srimad Bhagavatam describes there are four types of Shraddha. Sattviki, Adhyatmiki, Shraddha, Karma Shraddha, Charajasi, Karma Shraddha tu Rajasi, Tamasya, Adharmeya Shraddha, Mad Sevayam tu Nirguna. Faith in Shastra, which deals with the science of the self, is Sattvic. It's about Atma Gyan, about the self. It is Sattvic in the mode of goodness. And there is faith related to fruitive activities. The faith that is fruitive activities. This is more like business-like mentality. And that is Rajasic. Faith in adharmic acts. Adharmic means non-religious activities is called Tamasic. And faith in my service is Nirguna. If one has faith in service to Sri Krishna, then that is Nirguna, transcendental. It should be understood that the word Nirguna means transcendental and beyond material qualities, Aprakrit. It does not mean bereft of all qualities. Hence, a Bhakti Yogi endowed with Nirguna Shraddha is best. Bhagavan Shri Krishna's intention is to give this understanding. So here we are seeing that, and Bhagavan also told Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita, verse 17.28, Ashraddhaya etum dattam tapastaptam kritam chet asad iti uchyate partha na cha tat pretya na iha. O son of Prutha, sacrifice, austerity, charity in the act performed without faith is referred to as asat and unreal. Such activities give no transcendental result either in this world or the next. Understand? So, very, very clear. Ashraddhaya hutam dattam tapastaptam kritam chet asat iti uchyate partha na cha tat pretyam naiha. Tapaha means austerity. That is taptam, which is undergone. If you have undergone any austerity or sacrifice, hutam means offered, charity, dattam given, ashraddhaya without faith. If you perform any austerity, undergo any austerity, tapah taptam, ashraddhaya tapah taptam, ashraddhaya hutam, ashraddhaya dattam. Without faith, you are undergoing austerity. Without faith, you are offering charity. Without faith, you are doing something. Then it is asat, it is impermanent. It doesn't give permanent result. O Partha, son of Prutha. Prutha means mother. Kunti's name is Prutha. That's why Krishna is called Partha. Krishna's friend Arjuna is called Partha. Even today there is a city in Australia called Perth. The word Perth came from the name Partha. And that has benefit. No, neither iha in this world. No, not pretya in the next world. Iha means in this world, pretya means in the next world. Means if you do any yakya, austerities, fire sacrifice, dana, charity, tapasya, austerities, penances, any actions you perform without faith is called asam. For son of Buddha, such activities have no benefit, either in this world or in the next world. So I heard about Satkarma, but what is Asatkarma? Expecting this question from Arjuna. Arjuna may ask, oh Krishna, you told me about Satkarma. Now what is Asatkarma? Then Shri Bhagavan is speaking this shloka beginning with the word Ashraddhaya. All fire yajnas, uttam, charity, dattam, finances, tapa, and anything else which is done without Shraddha is asat. This means that although yajna may be performed, it is not actually a yajna. Charity may be given, but it is not charity. Tapasya may be performed, but it is not tapasya. And whatever else may be done is in fact useless. If performed without faith, it does not even give good results in this world. What to speak of it fructifying in the other world? Na pratyana nahi hai. Various types of prescribed activities that are performed with sattvic shraddha lead to moksha. That is explained in the previous present chapter. So, all activities performed with the purpose of serving Bhagwan, Guru and Vaishnavas, such as collecting alms, digging wells and ponds, making flower and tulsi gardens, planting trees and building temples are tat arthiyam karma. Activities done for his satisfaction and they are sat. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur quotes Krishna as saying, "O Arjuna, all activities, yajna, dan, tapasya, etc., that are performed without nirgun shraddha are asati, temporary and useless." Means anything should be done with the nirgun shraddha, transcendental faith. Such activities never bring any benefit either now in this world or in the future, in the next world. Therefore, Shastra instructs us in nirgun shraddha. If one discards the injunctions of Shastra, it means that he has given up nirgun shraddha. Nirgun shraddha is the only seed of the bhakti lata. So we must have nirgun shraddha. This is very, very clear here. So, according to the statement of Gita, all practices devoid of shraddha are unproductive. Maharshi Patanjali writes, Shraddha chetasa samprasadaha sahi jananiva kalyani yogina pati. This means that absolute happiness of heart is said to be shraddha. Absolute happiness of hearts indicates the primary seedling-like stage of being favorably disposed to a particular subject matter. It takes place when the filth of doubt is dispelled from the heart. It's called shraddha. Therefore, we see that in regard to any subject, the dispelling of doubt and the establishing of faith is called shraddha. Like a mother, shraddha, the embodiment of auspiciousness, always protects the yogi. In any given pursuit, only a person with faith is capable of achieving perfection. As his faith is, whatever he is pursuing strengthens, his heart becomes favorably inclined towards it and is ushered towards success. It is true that in any practice, whether jnana, karma or yoga, faith is essential. But in regard to bhakti sadhan, faith is extraordinarily essential. Faith is the very first crucial stage in the practice of bhakti. It is beyond the modes of material nature and is composed of transcendence. Prem is certainly the ultimate step in the practice of bhakti. Rupa Goswami has written, Adau Shraddha Tataha Sadhu Sango Atha Bhajana Kriya Atha Anartha Nivritti Syat Tatho Nishtha Ruchistata Atha Saktistato Bhavas Tataha Prema Vyudanchati Sadhakana Mayam Premna Pradurbhave Bhavitkrama. This means that first faith, Shraddha, develops in the heart of the sadhaka. After that comes association with saints, sadhu sangha, devotional practice, bhajana kriya, and the clearing of unwanted habits, anartha nivritti. Next, the sadhak develops resolute faith, nishtha in bhajan, followed by a strong taste, ruchi for it. He then develops intense attachment, asakti to bhajan and to the object of bhajan. Brajanandan Shri Krishna, after this Shuddha Sattva, unalloyed transcendental existence descends to the heart of the sadhaka in the form of spiritual emotions, bhava, and finally pure love for Krishna, prema arises. This is the gradual development of prema. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has described the two characteristics of Shraddha. The first step in the practice of bhakti, the first symptom of Shraddha is unflinching faith in the statements of devotional scriptures. The Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami writes, Shraddha Shabde Vishwasa Kohe Sutra Nishchaye Krishna Bhakti Kaile Sarva Karm Krita Hai Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita Leela 22.62. Shraddha in the form of conviction that by rendering transcendental loving service to Sri Krishna, all one's obligations are automatically accomplished. In other words, Shraddha means to have genuine faith in devotional literature, to understand the purpose of scriptures with steadfast intelligence, to wholeheartedly endeavor to gain realization of such matters, and to logically reconcile any apparent quandaries. Once one develops unflinching faith in these philosophical conclusions, one will realize that without Bhagavad Bhajan, life is absolutely useless. Concurrently, by hearing about Sri Hari's compassion and other qualities, as well as his pastime of delivering the fallen souls, the heart floods with hope and blossoms. So, this compassion of Bhagwan, we are talking about compassion. So compassion is greatest quality of Bhagwan. He is full of compassion. So, we see that after the period of universal annihilation was completed and the material world was again manifested, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in his form of Sankarshan, glanced at the multitude of his own material universes and saw the suffering conditions. Feeling compassion for them, the Lord appeared in the material realm and displayed his extraordinary opulences. Appearing within each universe, Lord Sankarshan then expanded himself as Pradyumna, who became the father of Lord Brahma. All-pervading Lord Sankarshan also expanded himself as Lord Matsya and countless other incarnations of Godhead, all manifesting unlimited transcendental qualities and opulences. So you see that this Garbha, Karnodakashayi Vishnu is producing these universes, Garbhodakashayi Vishnu is entering into each universe, Shadakashayi Vishnu, and there are so many incarnations which are manifest from Vishnu. So all the compassion of Bhagavan is actually Bhagavan is full of compassion. So see that Bhagavan is nothing but compassion. Dina bandhati nama tera smaran yadu vendra patto muksai. Bhakta vatsalaya tvaichute. Hridayam mamakam ashikampate. Bhagavan is actually Dina Bandhu. Dina Bandhu and he is very, very merciful. So his compassion is limitless. We cannot have how much compassion he has. And our acharyas also have compassion. They are actually also showing compassion to the conditioned living entities. They're all eternally liberated personalities, eternal associates of Lord Krishna, but they are coming to this world to guide us. So, a revulsion or distaste for fleeting pleasures then arises naturally. When we hear Krishna's about compassion and other qualities, as well as how he delivers the fallen souls, our heart floods with pleasure and help and hope and manifest in our heart. And we also develop revulsion or distaste for fleeting pleasures, then arises naturally. Means just like Yamunacharya, he says, Yadavati mama cheta Krishna padar vinde, Navanavas dhamani uddatam rantamasi, Tadavati bata nari sangame smaryamane, Bhavati mukha vikara sushta nishtivancha. That when I am relishing Krishna's sweet pastimes, but the thought of enjoying with a woman or opposite sex comes in my heart, then I spit at that thought. Understand? So that is actually not very palatable. Once you have developed bhakti for Krishna, then sense enjoyment is no more palatable for us. So, in the following purport, Sri Jiva Goswami describes Shraddha and Sharanagati as identical with each other. So, Shraddha and Sharanagati are identical. Jiva Goswami Pada, our Tattva Acharya, he says in Bhakti Sandarbha, Anuched 176, श्रद्धा शरणोपत्तयोर ऐक्यार्थम लभ्यते तच्च युक्तम श्रद्धा ही शास्त्रार्थ विश्वास शास्त्रम च तद अशरणस्य भयम तद शरणस्य अभयम वदति ततो जातायाः श्रद्धयास्तच्चरणपत्तेर इव लिंगम. One should understand that the meaning of Shraddha, faith and Sharanagati is the same. Unflinching faith in the purpose of scripture is called Shraddha. Scripture instructs devotees who are surrendered to Bhagwan's worshipful feet to be fearless. And those who are not surrendered are fearful. Therefore, when such unflinching faith in the purpose of scripture awakens, its symptoms is surrender. In other words, only by surrender is the presence of faith identified. So we must have unflinching faith in the purpose of the scriptures. When we have faith in the purpose of the scriptures, the symptom is surrender, Sharanagati. So faith will result in the surrender. If you have faith in scriptures, you have faith in Guru's words, if you have faith in Bhagwan's words, what will happen? One will be fearless and one will surrender to Bhagwan, Guru and Vaishnava. So in other words, only by surrender is the presence of faith identified. Some people tell that, I have great faith in my Guru and Vaishnavas and scriptures. I have great faith. But they are not surrendered. Then you know that they have no faith. I have great faith, but there is no surrender. So when there is faith, certainly there will be surrender. If such surrender is not rooted in the heart of the sadhaka, it is not possible to perform actual bhajan of Shri Bhagwan. The sadhaka must have Sharanagati, surrender. The sadhaka advances in bhajan to the degree that he has surrendered. What more can be said? Indeed, surrender is the first force, is the life force of the practice of bhakti. The surrender, Sharanagati. Anukulyasya sankalpa pratikulyasya vivarjanam rakshishyati vishvasu muktutya varanam tatha atma nikshepa karpanna shanvida Sharanagati. Understand? So, surrender. We must have this surrender to Bhagwan. Sharanagati is actually the entrance into the bhakti. It is not bhakti, but it is the prerequisite for bhakti. So, he must be prapanna. Srila Bhakti Rakshak Maharaj also wrote one book, Shri Prapanna Jivnamritam, a Sanskrit devotional treatise on the subject of divine surrender, which has become a standard textbook for the devotees everywhere. Very nice book actually, Prapanna Jivnamritam. You can online, you can download a copy actually. It is actually, I have seen very wonderful book, Shri Prapanna Jivnamritam. Once Srimad Dandi Maharaj told me that find some verses which you want to put on the wall. And I found so many verses, I recommended to him. These are ideal verses to be put on the wall. In Prapanna Jivnamritam, Srila Bhakti Rakshak Maharaj says, Shishi Guru Gaura Gandharvika Govindangrim Ganaisaha Vande Prasadato Yesham Sarvarambha Shubhandara. Very right book. At the beginning, he said, I have obeisances to my divine master, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Shri Gandharvika Giridhari, Shri Radha Krishna, and their associates. By their grace, all endeavors are successful. Gauravag Vigraham Vande, Gaurangam Gauravaivavam, Gaura Sankirtanam Mattam, Gaura Karunya Sundaram. I make my obeisances unto the deity Gaura Saraswati, the personified message of the Golden Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is calling it Gaura Saraswati. Gauravani is called Gaura Saraswati. The words of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is called Gaura Saraswati, whose body luster is of a beautiful golden hue, like that of the self-same Lord Gaura Sundar, who is the personal expansion of that Supreme Lord Gaurari, who is always intoxicated by preaching the message of that golden Lord, and whose divine beauty blooms in the revelation of Lord Gauranga's mercy potency. This is the fundamental meaning of the verse. Within the scope of the Sanskrit language, various expanded purports may be drawn from the original. So Gaura Saraswati is actually offering obeisances to Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada also. Understand? Gaura Saraswati. He's telling a Gaura Rupa Harim Gauram, Gaura Ruchi Rucha Vratam, Nityam Nomi Namaddipe, Namakirtana Nartane. Perpetually I do sing the glories of Lord Gauranga, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, embraced by the heart and halo of Sri Radhika, who has descended as the Divine Master. In this holy abode of Sri Navadvip Dham, he is absorbed in the pastimes of profusely chanting the holy names, dancing in ecstasy, as with verse 2, expanded purports were drawn from this verse. So you see that this Prapanda Jivanamritam, very wonderful book actually, and completely talking about surrender, how to surrender to Bhagavan Shri Krishna. So actually he's telling that to give oneself is the substance of devotion. To give oneself, to give everything we have to Bhagavan and Vaishnavas and Guru, that is the substance of devotion. Shravana Kirtanadinam Bhakti Anganam hi ajane Akshamaswapi Sarvapti Prapattaiva Haravit. If one is not able or does not have the opportunity to execute the different forms of services to a Krishna, if he has only Sharanagati, he will accomplish everything in the future. Sharanagati will give everything. Sharanagati is the most fundamental and basic substance in the devotional world. The whole structure of the devotional world is based on Sharanagati. Understand? So, without Sharanagati, there can be no real entrance into the domain of service. Sharanagati is the very life and essence of devotion. So it must be present in all forms of services. Without Sharanagati, service will be mere imitation, mere lifeless activity, not devotion proper. Sharanagati is the first condition. Prahlad Maharaj has said, Manne tat etat akhilam nigamasya satyam Swatmarpanam Swasavrudaha Paramasya Pumsa. The whole gist of Vedic teachings is Swatmarpanam, to give and fully dedicate oneself to the Lord. To give oneself is the substance of all devotional activity. This is also stated by Sridhar Swamipad in his commentary of the 9 basic devotional practices, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. If devotional hearing, chanting, etc. is already dedicated to him, only then it will be recognized as devotion, bhakti. Otherwise, everything is bogus. If you are hearing and chanting, but you are not dedicating it to Bhagavan, then it is bogus. If I hear to fulfill my mundane purpose, it is no more bhakti. If I perform kirtan or speak harikatha to make some money, then it will not be bhakti. Whatever I shall do, it is for him. That sort of bond must first be signed. Then whatever will be done on the basis will be recognized as bhakti. And this is the foundation of bhakti. Without Sharanagati, all attempts will be exploitation, renunciation, and meditation, karma, jnana, and yoga. Anything but bhakti. So it will be karma, exploitation. It will be renunciation, jnana, and meditation, yoga, but it will not be bhakti. The result must always go to my Lord. I am his slave, Nityadas. I am wholly his servant, without any independence to keep my independent property. Whatever I shall acquire or whatever I shall do, the owner is he. Jivara Swarupa hai Krishna Nityadas. Nityadas means eternal servant, that is slave. He has the right to make or mar, to do anything with me as he likes, according to his sweet will. So, whenever we perform devotional hearing, chanting, remembering with this feeling, that will be devotional activity. But if that is withdrawn, everything will go to hell. If the plank of the dancing stage is withdrawn, the whole show is gone. Therefore, with Sharanagati, self-dedication, devotion is possible. Only the activity of the man of dedicated self can be reckoned as bhakti. He does everything on behalf of Krishna. He always takes Krishna's side, abandoning all separate interest for the fruit of his work. The consciousness of separate interest, Vidyaviniveshita, has made us separate from Krishna. The common interest is solely in him. Then only our service will be bhakti. Without that, everything is lost. Sharanagati must be present in order to have living devotion. Otherwise, hearing and chanting are only forms, not life. Therefore, Sharanagati means exclusive connection and identification with the interest of Krishna. And Krishna is not directly seen by us. So we serve the Guru and Vaishnavas who are dear to him. According to the degree of our self-abnegation, in self-surrender, will be benefited. And the specific characteristics of Shanta Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya or Madhur Ras will develop. And there are also subdivisions within these rasas. In this way, the devotee will be properly located. But without Sharanagati, all the formal practices will lose their life and will become something other than bhakti. Either in the plane of exploitation or the plane of renunciation, but the plane of dedication is the land of devotion. By sweet will, sometimes the attention of the Lord is drawn towards the most needy, and sometimes a more qualified person may be ignored. We cannot, we cannot interfere with his independence. Why have you shown mercy in this case and not in mine? We cannot take him under law. That is not Sharanagati or surrender. When we put such a question to him, we deviate from the position of Sharanagati. We cannot expect to be enlisted, even in the primary class. If you come to examine my case, I am hopeless. So I have come only for your mercy. So what is the spirit of Sharanagati? If you come to consider my case, calculate my position, I have no hope. I am such a mean fellow. If you come to calculate right and wrong about me, I have no hope. So I come to that school of yours where only mercy will be my hope. I want only your mercy. But if you come to examine me, I have no hope. This is the primary necessity in our Sharanagati. In our surrendering. Surrender means this. Surrender does not allow us to think, why have you shown grace to him and not to me? This is anti-surrendering temperament. No calculation. If you come to calculate, I have no hope. But if you can show me some grace, some causeless mercy, then I have that hope. I have come to this department of the Lord by surrendering. Anyone may have his voluntary mercy, but I may not. If I hesitate and think about justice, then I am already cancelled from the list. My name will be struck from the register. This is one of the finest points in Sharanagati. What is surrender and what should be the quality of surrender? Mara Vira Kavi Jai Chatomara Mara Vira Kavi Jai Chatomara Sharanagati 11th song. According to your sweet will, you can take or mar me. With such understanding, we can go to surrender. Calculation is not allowed in that department of causeless mercy. Mercy may be extended to everyone except me, but I have nothing to complain about. What more can one give than this? This is the thunderbolt from the blue. To become Sharanagat, to surrender means to leave all prospects, to be emptied. I have no prospect. To be fully emptied and then to surrender. There cannot be the least application in the petition. Surrender means a clean slate. Complete dependence upon him means he can make or mar. I must admit my master's right to make or mar. I am a slave. Mahaprabhu says, Jivera Swarupa hai Krishna Nityadas. So this is your constitutional position. Have you enough boldness to admit it? Can you admit that your master has full rights over you? Yes, my master has full rights over me. I am ready to go to eternal hell to supply his slightest pleasure. Such narrations, as for example, we have heard the story about when the gopis were ready to supply their food dust as medicine to elevate Krishna's headache. Such narrations we may hear as very sweet to our ears, but to accept is horrible. Jivera Swarupa hai Krishna Nitya Das, no risk, no gain. Whole risk, whole gain. Such confidence is necessary. A free, clear, and bold choice. Are you ready for that? Krishna is not like a sweet meat. His price may be so cheap or so expensive. He is everywhere, he is nowhere. He may say, you all belong to me, or I don't care for any of you. We are inhabitants of that land and now, and really, by constitution, we have every right to serve him. It is the truth, and we must be bold enough to call a spade a spade. Can you accept that you are the eternal servant? You are a slave of Krishna. And Krishna is so dignified that even his slave holds the highest position. Krishna's nature is such that he does not hesitate to serve even his slaves. He is so great and magnanimous. Aham bhakta paradhimohi asatantra ivat. I feel my tendency to serve my devotees in such a way that I am not independent. I feel myself to be under their directions. So this is the nature of devotion, bhakti. Bhakti is infinitely more wonderful than jnana and knowledge. To know everything is a very charming temptation that makes one think that he has become the master of almost everything. But seva, service is far above this kind of consciousness. Real knowledge practically becomes your servant. If you follow the path of surrender, Sharanagati, the infinite comes within the feast of the finite. Can you imagine it? Is it imaginable? Sometimes we hear about a great general falling into the clutches of a loving girl, a great dictator who commands a whole country's forces, maybe in the clutches of a girl. Shri Krishna Karshini Chasa. Lord Krishna, the autocrat, is controlled by love and nothing else. Divine love, prema, is such that it can control the absolute autocrat. Even he can be controlled, and this is the clue. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to distribute this. The Master of Masters came with this offer. This path will lead you to a plane where you'll be able to control the Master of Masters. Brahmadiye prema bhakti yoga vancha kare taha vilaimus sarva prati kare kare. Mahaprabhu came as the most gracious descent. He brought such nectar, even a drop of which is aspired after by the masters of the creation and dissolution of this visible world, Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva. So here, Bhagavan is also very clearly told, Martyo yata takta samasta karma niveditatma vichikrashito me tat amritatvam pratipadyamano mayatma bhutaya vyaya chakalpati. When a mortal totally abandons all karma and offers himself to my direction, at that time he acts according to my sweet will and becomes one with me. He attains the fitness to become my family member in his divine form of Sachidananda nature. So this is the transformation that can be seen in the physical system also. The physical cells undergo transformation. Old cells vanish, new cells grow. And this also occurs when one accepts prasadam, food offered to the Lord. A revolutionary transformation occurs. Unconsciously, there is transformation in the physical system by the gradual process of living a pious and divine life. Imperceptibly, the transformation takes place. Martya yada takta samasta karma. He has detached himself from all the activities of this so-called mundane world. Niveditatma. And he considers himself no longer a member of this material world. He has entered and enlisted in the family, in the entourage of another plane, and gradually he more and more intensely identifies himself as one of that family, that plane, Niveditatma Vichikrashitome. He is very busy to find out what can please me. That is his errand always. He is always seeking how to please me. That is the only principle in him. He automatically thinks over and over again, how can I please him? How can I please him? Tad amrutatva pratipadyamano, then indispensably such a change cannot but come in him. The necessary transformation, a transformation from mortality to immortality, gradually occurs. The progress is sure and substantial. Mayatma bhuyaya cha kalpadevai, and consequently he becomes to be reckoned as one of my family members. And also in Bhagavad Gita, Vishadedanantaram, my devotees enters into my family. With our bhajan, divine service, such transformation is inevitable. It must happen. Material hankering will be diminished, mostly in Raju and Tamoguna, the modes of passion and ignorance. There is dissipation of vital energy, but in Sattvagun, truthfulness, realization, the energy lost is of much less quantity. Bhakti pareshanubhava viraktir annatra jaisha trikaka kala prapadyamanasya ythashnadasya tushti pushtikshna payanudasa. As with every mouthful, an eater feels the threefold effects of satisfaction, his stomach being filled and his hunger being dispelled. In the same way, when a surrendered soul serves the Lord, he realizes devotion of three natures simultaneously. Devotion in love, the personal appearance of the Lord, who is the word of love, and detachment from all other things. Progress can be measured by detecting this kind of transformation within Pareshanubhav. Somehow a conception of the Supreme must grow clearer and clearer in me. What is He? Who is He? Viraktir Anyatra, and indifference to everything, non-Krishna, grows in me also. I avoid what does not concern Krishna, and when it appears anyway, it produces some apathy or even irritation in me. Oh, why has this thing come to me? The measurement from the negative direction will be how much I am apathetic to non-Krishna things. Tushti pushti kshadapayunudhasa. And also the inner hunger should be felt to be fulfilled. Yes, I am feeling fulfillment. I shall feel self-approval that I am walking in the right direction. I shall have inner sanction of my clear conscience. Yes, yes, I am doing right. I will feel inner satisfaction. विद्यते हृदय ग्रंथिश्चित्यन्ते सर्व संशया क्षीयन्ते चास्य कर्मणि मयि दृष्ट्वे अखिलात्मनि. When the soul directly beholds me as a supreme soul within all souls, his mundane ego is dissolved. All his doubts are slashed, and all his worldly deeds, karma, are annihilated. This is the scientific measurement, and of course, science of the transcendental world is not to be applied in the nature of the mundane. By this standard of adjustment, we shall gradually make progress towards proper adjustment. If the center is clear, of course, the circumference is properly located. Krishna consciousness is the center, and in that consciousness, every event can be found to be properly adjusted. In this way, by that inner satisfaction and realization, one can measure his personal progress. But this does not mean that his thirst will be quenched, rather, it will increase. But the assurance will come that the direction is in the right direction. I am now making progress in the proper line because my new things can be explained by that formula. They seemed to be unintelligible and meaningless. Now, what I am told to be the absolute is harmonizing all these things either to unharmonized. These points are being solved. So, Chidyante Sarva Samshaya. The doubts are being cleared, and more satisfaction of a wide and spacious nature. The solution will be felt in the heart of one who is a real student, a regular student of the Bhagavad school. Chidyante Sarva Samshaya is a great thing. We cannot accommodate this within a narrow shell of our brain. All doubts should be cleared. What is this? It is inconceivable that all doubts will be cleared. But everything will be solved. We accept the harmonizing center in such a point as advised by Srimad Bhagavatam Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Krishna conception of the Absolute. So here, Srila Bhaktivinoda Sridhar Maharaj talks about surrender. So if such a surrender is not rooted in the heart of the sadhaka, it is not possible to perform actual bhajan of Sri Bhagavan, so to speak. The sadhaka advances in bhajan to a degree that he has surrendered. What more can be said? Indeed, surrender is the life force of the practice of bhakti. Only the surrendered devotee achieves supreme peace and devotional access, as well as Shri Krishna's supreme abode. Shri Krishna says to Arjuna, Tameva Sharanam Gacha Sarvabhavena Bharata Tat Prasadatmanam Shantim Sthanam Prapsasi Shashvatam. Or descendant of Bharata, or descendant of Bharata, surrender completely to him, that supreme controller. By his grace, you will attain transcendental peace and a supreme eternal abode. sthanam prapsasi shashvatam. So Krishna is telling Arjuna that tameva sharanam gaccha. The pure spirit souls have finite independence due to their transfusional nature as atomic conscious entities. By proper utilization of that independence, they take shelter of the Supreme Lord and thus attain the supreme peace. O Bharat, surrender unto the Lord in all respects. By His grace, you will attain to supreme peace and the eternal abode. So, this is actually very nicely explained that must surrender to Bhagavan. Tameva Sharanam Gaccha Sarva Bhavena Bhavat. Tameva Sharanam Gaccha Sarva Bhavena Bharata Tat Prasadat Param Shantim Sthanam Prapsasi Shashvatam. Bharat, O son of Bharat, Gaccha Sharanam, take shelter, Eva, exclusively, Tam of him, Sarva Bhavena, in every respect, and Tat Prasadat, by his mercy, Prapsasi, you will attain Param Shantim, transcendental peace, and Shashvatam Sthanam, his eternal abode. O Bharat, surrender exclusive to that Ishwar in every respect. By His grace, you will attain transcendental peace and the supreme eternal abode. For the purpose of explaining the significance of surrender to Him, Shri Bhagavan is now speaking this shloka, beginning with the words Tameva. Param means when both avidya and vidya cease, you will attain the eternal abode. Vaikuntha. Some people think that those who worship Antaryami attain this result. However, the result of those who worship and surrender to Bhagavan will be explained later. Others constantly think, my Ishtadev Shri Krishna is my only Guru. He alone will bestow Bhakti Yoga upon me and offer me beneficial instructions. I surrender to him. Shri Krishna himself is my Antaryami. May he alone engage me in his service. I take exclusive shelter of him. As Uddhava also says in Srimad Bhagavatam, O Isha, even those who are greatly learned, who acquired a duration of life equivalent to that of Brahma and who blissfully remember you, always feel indebted to you. It's because you illuminate the embodied entities with the process of attaining you. You do this externally as Acharya Guru and internally as Chaitya Guru. Naivopayanti papachitam kavayasthavesha brahmayushapikrita madhamadas paranta yantarbhistandvartam ashubham vidanvan acharya chaitya vipusham swagatim vinanti. So Bhagavan helps us externally as Acharya Guru and internally as Chaitya Guru. Sarartha Varshini Prakashika Vrtishla Gurudev says that here Shri Bhagavan instructs Arjuna to fully surrender to Antaryami who is within everyone, Paramatma. He is the causelessly merciful Parameshwar who was described in the previous shloka. Parameshwar is influenced by such one-pointed surrender which pleases him. By his mercy, one can easily attain supreme transcendental peace and go to his imperishable abodes such as Vaikuntha or Golok. Bhagavan manifests himself in 5 forms in this world for the welfare of the jivas, according to the service attitude of his bhaktas. These are 5 forms are Archa Vigraha, the deed, Antaryami, the super soul, Vaibhava, avatars of the Lord, Vyuha, expansions, and Para, Shri Krishna himself. Krishna jadi kripa kate guna bhagyavane Guru Antaryami rupa shikaya pane. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila 22.47. To bestow his mercy upon the jivas who possess the type of sukriti that direct them towards bhakti, Bhagavan gives instructions about surrendering to him, both externally as the spiritual master and internally as the Chaitya Guru. So next, Srila Vishwanath Chaitanya Thakur describes the second symptom of Shraddha. When a person becomes particularly diligent in executing the devotional practices delineated in scriptures and exhibits a reverent desire to execute these principles, that too is called Shraddha. Once the first symptom of Shraddha, unflinching faith in the imports of the scriptures, is awakened, then the second symptom, the effect of such faith, is bound to manifest. There is no doubt about this. At this time, the sadhaka becomes particularly attentive in executing the practices described in the scripture and exhibits a reverent wish to perform such activities. In this matter, Srila Jiva Goswami writes in Bhakti Sandarbha, Anuched 173. Kimcha Jatayam Shraddhayam Siddhava Asiddhantu Swarna Siddhi Lipsor Iva Sada Tad Navritti Chishta Jeshteva Syat. So here Srila Jiva Goswami says when people believe in the value of gold, they are seen to toil endlessly with great effort to attain it, whether they manage to obtain it or not. Similarly, upon the awakening of Shraddha, a sadhaka is seen to continually endeavor to perform bhajan under the guidance of exalted personalities. So you see that gold digging. The gold is so. In South Africa also there are so many mines, understand, and people go to any depths. I've seen many months they are inside um, inside the mine actually, and the weather is. I mean the oxygen supply is very little, so they have to carry oxygen cylinders on their back. Otherwise, they cannot survive. And they have to go maybe 2 kilometers, 3 kilometers, 4 kilometers underneath the ground in South Africa just to mine the gold. But once they have know the value of gold, that the gold is very expensive, they do it. They toil endlessly in the mines to excavate gold. Understand? They are not worried about family or anything. Somehow they go inside the ground uh, and try to get the gold out. So similarly, if you have faith, then sadhaka will be continually endeavor to perform bhajan under the guidance of exalted personalities, whether he attains perfection or not. One should understand that here the word perfection means that internally one receives a glimpse of Shri Hari, an experience affording the pinnacle of supreme ecstasy. Such a glimpse thoroughly destroys internal faults, like lust in the heart of the sadhaka. A faithful person who has achieved perfection strives for excellence in that perfection. And a faithful person who has not achieved perfection strives to attain it. Not even the slightest trace of conceit or desire for fame remains in the heart of such faithful devotees. The faithful soul never consciously disobeys or offends pure devotees, for such an act is absolutely, is completely at odds with his attempts to achieve perfection in bhajan. If due to the result of previous impressions, sanskaras, a faithful person sees that he still has attachment to material sense objects, he understands such attachment to be a hindrance to his bhajan, and devotion imbued with humility manifests within him. A faithful person never exhibits poor character. Shastra says, Parapatni, Paradravya, Parahimsa, Suyamatim, Na karoti puman bhupa, Dushyate tena Keshava. Vishnu Puran. So, Vishnu Puran also says that Sri Keshav is pleased, O king, by one whose mind does not dwell upon another man's wife or wealth, or upon committing violence to others. Others. So, this is also very important. Don't be attached to others' wives. We should not be attached to them, to others' wives. Be satisfied with your own wife, and if you are sannyasi brahmachari, then not worry about any woman. You simply think that all are my mothers and sisters, and do bhakti. So, parapatni, paradravya, parahimsa, suyomatyam, na karoti puman rupa, toshyate tena keshava. So, don't be attached to uh, others' wealth, others' woman. Don't be attached to these things. These are very important instructions. Actually, when Bhagwan is very pleased with that person. Actually, I um, heard one story that one man was there, and they were friends actually. One man and another man were friends. Now, this man he told that I am going to somewhere else, to different country, and I'm going to a different country, and I have a very beautiful wife, young wife, and I want to protect her. But if she's alone, she may be in danger. So I'm keeping my wife with you, and you'll have to take care of my wife. Daytime also in night time means she should be protected. Then Then he put a condition also. He said, daytime I will protect your wife when I am awake, but when I am sleeping, then I don't know, something may happen to her. So my condition is that I will sleep in the middle, my wife will sleep on the left, and she will have to sleep on the right side and on the same bed. If you agree to this condition, then only I'll keep your wife, otherwise I'll not keep your wife. And he said it's okay. He said it's okay because the only thing you should guard her. Then this man was sleeping in the middle and his own wife on the left side and someone else's wife on the right side. And um, obviously, night time when you're sleeping, you don't know where your hand goes. Sometimes this way, that way, and sometimes it so happened that his hand was touching the breast of the someone else's wife also. But when her husband came back, she reported that yes, sometimes he may have touched me, but there was no actually lust. Actually, he was simply sleeping, and he guarded me very much, like his own sister. So she vouched for that his purity. So Bhagwan also was very pleased with him. Understand? Because he had no, although he was sleeping on the same bed with that woman, someone else's wife, along with his own wife, but he was not attached to her. Understand? So that type of, we should always try to protect someone else's wife, like a mother, sister, daughter. Uh, Not look at lustily at someone else's wife or wealth, Bhagwan, and not commit violence to others also. It's like we don't want violence to be committed to us, then why should we commit violence to others? So, from such evidence, it is understood that when the sadhaka's faith in scripture is awakened, he abandons anything that creates a formidable obstacle to bhajan. Such offenses to exalted devotees, striving for mundane profit and adoration, hankering for name and fame, easily ascending the successive higher steps of bhakti, he is able to enter the palace of prema. Therefore, the sadhaka should thoroughly understand the stage of shraddha. For example, before a spectacular residential skyscraper is erected, a strong, secure foundation must be laid. If the foundation is not secure, the skyscraper will soon topple. Similarly, in order to erect the exquisite palace of devotion for the pleasure of Sri Krishna, one must consolidate one's foundation, Shraddha, because one's Shraddha determines one's eligibility for bhakti. श्रद्धावान जन है भक्त भक्ति अधिकारी उत्तम मध्यम कनिष्ठ श्रद्धानुसार शास्त्रयुक्ते शुनि पुनः दृढ़ श्रद्धाचार उत्तम अधिकारी से तारे संसार शास्त्रयुक्ति नहीं जाने दृढ़ श्रद्धावान मध्यम अधिकारी से महाभाग्यवान जहार कोमल श्रद्धा से कनिष्ठ जन क्रमे क्रमे देवो भक्त हरिवे उत्तम Only faithful persons are eligible candidates for bhakti. According to the measure of their faith, devotees are graded as Uttamadhikari, exalted Madhyamadhikari, intermediate, and Krishnadhikari, neophyte. One who is exceptionally conversant in scriptural topics and endowed with unflinching faith in is an Uttamadhikari. Such a person can deliver souls engrossed in worldly life. One who is not expert in scriptural subjects but is fully faithful is a Madhyamadhikari and most fortunate, and one whose faith is pliable is a Kanishtadhikari. Gradually, by association with exalted devotees, the latter too also become Uttama or first class devotees. Srila Vishwanath Thakur has further divided the two aforementioned types of Shraddha into two. The first is called Swabhaviki or occurring naturally, and the second is Balapurvak Upadita or forcibly awakened. Furthermore, Srila Jiva Goswami has delineated two types of faith. Faith in the injunctions of the Vedic scriptures, Shastriya Shraddha, and ordinary temporal materialistic faith, Lauki Shraddha. The first arises upon receiving the association and mercy of exalted devotees. Scripture states, Sat Sangat Jayate Shraddha. Association with saintly persons produces faith. In Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavan Kapildev addresses his mother, Devoti thus, Satam Prasangan Mama Virya Samvido Bhavanti Rutkarna Rasayana Katha Tajjoshna Dasha Bavarga Vartmani Shraddha Ratir Bhaktir Anukramishti. In the association of exalted devotees, one gains the opportunity to hear my chivalrous pastimes. which deliver knowledge of my prowess and which are pleasing to the ear and heart. By hearing these pastimes, the path to abolishing ignorance promptly manifests. First is Shraddha, then Rati, and finally Prem Bhakti to me. From this verse, it is understood that Shraddha is obtained by receiving the association of Mahapurushas, exalted personalities. The type of faith generated by their association or mercy is Swabhaviki, natural. It is also called Shastriya Shraddha. This type of faith is advantageous in the performance of pure bhajan to attain love for Krishna. Faith that is awakened by force or ordinary temporal materialistic faith, Laukik Shraddha, is faith that has not arisen from the association or mercy of exalted devotees. Rather, it has been adopted artificially by imitating others. This type of Shraddha has no particular use in the execution of pure bhajan. Upon attaining the association of exalted devotees, however, a person with such Laukiki Shraddha can make his life successful by achieving Swabhaviki Shraddha or Shastriya Shraddha. So basically, in India also, I see people have faith in Krishna. Like I was in childhood also. We used to worship small deity of Laddu Gopal. I used to bathe this deity. But it was not Shastriya Shraddha, it was Laukik Shraddha because I was imitating what my mother was doing, my father was doing, and because I'm a Hindu, what others are doing. So I had not read the scriptures or not so much. I was reading Mahabharata and Ramayana, but not under guidance. So some faith was there, but it was Laukiki Shraddha. Every Hindu more or less has Laukiki Shraddha. And in the Western world also people have faith in Jesus or someone. I was seeing a video how Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj was once one side there were communists and the other side were Christians, really attacking him in his university program. But he was patiently answering the questions, and his disciple also was trying to answer. Although they were new devotees. So you see that. Furthermore, Srila Jiva Goswami outlines the sequence in which faith is attained by those in whom rati taste is prominent and in those in whom reasoning vichar is prominent. Some people have taste and some people have reasoning. In this context, the sequence is worth contemplating. For persons in whose reasoning is predominant, the process of attaining faith is in bhakti as follows. So basically, we have to see what is prominent. Taste is prominent or reasoning is prominent. Um, so if taste is prominent, then the sequence of manifestation um, of bhakti is very different. So next time we'll discuss this. This is a very involved topic. It's a very long purport actually. Tatra pratamam tavat tat sangat jatena. It's a very interesting reading. This is actually one of the most interesting and very helpful book for sadhakas like us, and wonderful reading actually. So I look forward to next class actually. I am also learning as much as you are learning because I am reading the works of great acharyas, and really it is helping me strengthen my faith. And when I give classes, this reading and these classes also help me because I draw from these classes. Thank you so much for attending this class. And day after tomorrow is Mahadvadashi. So thank you so much. Vancha Patra Vesha Kribas and the Vecha Pradana Bhavane Vishnu Namanama. I apologize, I was taking a little rest and I woke up and then I asked Jadu Krishna Prabhu what time is it? He says 9 o'clock. I said, okay, I am not too late. Because I was 5 or 10 minutes late, but no harm. Even if I am half an hour late, we should read this. We should not stop discussing Madhuri Kadambi. It's a cloud bank of nectar. My old friend also called, but I told him I'm on a video online class. Anyways, I'm going to talk to him after this. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much, Maharaj, always for giving us your time and taking off your busy schedule. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Maharaj, tomorrow is Ekadasi, right?
No, actually, I spoke with Shripad Dandi Maharaj, and he told me
Yes.
that we are observing Mahadvadashi, and he explained that it is Shravana Mahadvadashi. So I checked with Maharaj, and he said that we should follow on Wednesday. So we are following on
Okay.
Wednesday actually here in India. 7th.
Okay, Maharaj.
We are
Thank you so
following the
much because
Mahadvadashi.
on okay, tomorrow and then Wednesday is Ekadasi because Gurudev said on Saturday that Tuesday was Ekadasi. So I didn't follow up again
Yeah,
with
we are
you.
following
But
some
now you
Mahadvadashi.
said
That is
okay.
also Vaman Dev appearance day. So
Yes.
I was just checking the calendar and it says that it is Vijaya Mahadvadashi fasting, 7th September, Wednesday.
Yes.
And in the evening time, there will be the Lord will change his side. Means the Lord is sleeping now. Generally, we sleep on the left
Yes.
side or the right side. So this particular day, Lord will change his side because the 4 months of Chaturmasya,
Okay.
the Lord is sleeping. So 2 months he sleeps on the left side and the 2 months he sleeps on the right side. So this is also called Parsha Parivartani Mahadvadashi. It's changing the side. And this is also the appearance day of Bhagavan Shivaman Dvadashi. And it is also the appearance day of Srila Jiva Goswami Pad, whose Prathama Sandarbha we are referring in this parts of Srila Gurudev. So Srila Jiva Goswami's appearance day and Vaman Dvadashi, appearance day of Lord Vaman Dev. But what is happening, because we are supposed to fast on the appearance day of Lord Vaman Dev. So that is also happening now because we are fasting for Mahadvadashi and it also coincides with the appearance day of Vaman Dev. So both things are accomplished. And then on 8th September after sunrise and before 9:32 we will do the Paran. And that 8th September is the appearance day of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So amazing, wonderful days are ahead of us. Understand? So 7th September, 8th September are great days. First Jiva Goswami appearance day, then Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's appearance day. And for some people like Chaitanya Math, this is the 3rd month of Chaturmas is beginning for them. Chaitanya Gaudiya Math. 9th September is Shahanta Chaturdashi, Lord Ananta Dev's festival. And also the disappearance day of Srila Haridas Thakur. And 10th September is Sri Vishwarup Mahotsav. It is a Purnima. And we'll be all shaving this jungle on that day. So we'll be shaving that day. Vishwarup Mahotsav. Vishwarup was the elder brother of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sachi Mata gave birth to six or eight daughters. And they all left the world as soon as they were born. And then Vishwarup was born, who survived, but he took sannyas. And Mahaprabhu also followed him, also took sannyas. But when Mahaprabhu heard about Vishwarup going back to the spiritual world, he shaved. Generally in Chaturmasi we are not supposed to shave, but because Mahaprabhu shaved after 2 months, all sannyasis brahmacharis will be shaving after this 2 months gap. So it's back-to-back festivals are there. 7, 8, 9, 10 is jam-packed with festivals. Hare Krishna. Hare 7th
Hare Krishna
September
Maharaj.
is
Thank you
Vijaya
so much.
Mahadvadashi. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Maharaj. Hare Krishna Dadavat. Ananga Mohan Prabhu, Jai Diwani, please.
Hare Krishna.
Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhari Radha Vinoda Bihari Jai Om
Jai.
Vishnu Parvata Shri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Vishnu Jeti Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Om Vishnu Parashtotara Shata Shri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Dandi Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai नित्य लील प्रविष्टो विष्णु पारस्तोतर शता श्री श्रीमद भक्ति विदंत नारायण गोस्वामी महाराज की जय नित्य लील प्रविष्टो विष्णु पारस्तोतर शता श्री श्रीमद भक्ति वेदांत वामन गोस्वामी महाराज की जय नित्य लीला प्रविष्टो विष्णु पारस्तोतर शता श्री श्रीमद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी महाराज की जय नित्य लीला प्रविष्टो विष्णु पार अष्टोत्तर शता श्री श्रीमद भक्ति प्रज्ञान केशव गोस्वामी महाराज की जय नित्य लीला प्रविष्ट ओम विष्णु पारस्तोत्तर शता श्री शील भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय नित्य लीला प्रविष्ट परम भगवत प्रवारा श्री शील गौर किशोर दास बाबा जी महाराज की जय नित्य लीला प्रविष्ट श्री शील सच्चिदानंद भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर की जय। नित्य लीला प्रविष्ट वैष्णव सर्वभौम श्री शील जगन्नाथ दास बाबा जी महाराज की जय। श्री गौड़िय वेदांत आचार्य श्री शील बलदेव विद्याभूषण प्रभु की जय। श्रील विश्वनाथ चक्रवर्ती ठाकुर की जय। श्रील नरोत्तम श्रीनिवास श्यामानंद प्रभुताय की जय। श्रील कृष्णदास कविराज गोस्वामी प्रभु की जय। श्री रूप सनातन बात रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल दास रघुनाथ सत गोस्वामी प्रभु की जय। श्री स्वरूप दामोदर राय रामानंदादि श्री गौर प्रसाद वृंद की जय। नामाचार्य श्रील हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम सको श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवसति गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री अंतरद्वीप मायापुर सीमांत द्वीप गोद्रुमद्वीप मध्याद्वीप कोलद्वीप ऋतुद्वीप जानुद्वीप मोद्र द्रुमद्वीप रुदति पद्मका श्री नवद्वीप धाम की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोपा गोपी गो गोवर्धन द्वादश वनात्मकार श्री व्रजमंडल की जय। श्री राधा कुंड श्याम कुंड गंगा यमुना तुलसी भक्ति देव की जय। श्रीमती वृंद देव की जय। श्री पौर्णमासी योग माय की जय। श्री गोपीश्वर महादेव की जय। श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्र सुदर्शन चक्र जीव की जय। श्री क्षेत्र मंडल की जय। सर्व विघ्न विनाशकारी श्री नरसिंह देव की जय। भक्त प्रवार श्री प्रहलाद महाराज की जय। चार धाम की जय। चार संप्रदाय की जय। चार चार की जय। अकर्मत राज श्री चैतन्य मात की जय। श्री केशव जी गौड़िया मात ओ तत्सकमहा की जय। ग्रंथ राज श्रीमद भागवतम की जय। श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। सामगात भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री निताय गौर प्रेमनंद हरि हरि बोल।
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Nanga Mohan Prabhu. And thank you, dear devotees, for joining today. And as we all heard, Vishnudev Maharaj said that Bhaktivedanta Dandi Maharaj said on Saturday that tomorrow is Ekadasi, but now because Chaturmasi, the Lord changes his side of sleeping, Ekadasi is on Wednesday. So those that do Nirjal can do on Wednesday, and tomorrow you can do fruit and milk. So thank you, devotees, once again, and we'll see you all on Friday. Vanchakalpatarubhyasya kripasinubhyevacha patitana pavanibhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namah Vaishnavebhyo namo namah Vaishnavebhyo. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranams.